Hi everybody, it's Michelle from the Stamp Doctor. I'm finally back with another video. Today I'm going to show you the large ornament die and also the medium and small. So these are the faceted ornament dies. We have the large, the medium, and the small. And I want to say thank you to my friend Laura in Salt Lake City for giving me the idea, or I guess in Utah, maybe not Salt Lake City. And then these are the mini holiday dies. These fit in the spaces of the large ornament die, as well as other places you can use them to decorate. And these are the mini holiday dies. These go to the medium ornament spaces and other things. So here is an assembled large ornament. Okay, and a medium ornament, and a small ornament. So the small will hold a Hershey's Kiss, and these are actually a gift pouch or a gift bag, if you will. So here we go. I'm going to show you, we'll be assembling one. I'm going to show you how you would open it to get into it. So you would just pull your ribbon out, and you can see that it opens up, and you can put treats in it. Alright, so to begin, I'm going to show you the die and explain to you the best way to cut it. Now if you're wondering about the little dots on my mat, this is the magnetic base plate, and mine got gross and disgusting on top and was all falling apart, so I shaved it all off and cleaned it up. It needs cleaned again from glue, but that's what your magnets look like underneath. I get a lot of questions when I demo about why my mat has little dots. It doesn't have the flu. Alright, so this is the large ornament die, okay, and it has holes pre-done for you on the top. Now what that's going to mean is that if you have a pattern that is going a specific direction, you want to make sure that you have aligned your ornament to that direction on the paper. Otherwise, when you put it all together, it's going to end up upside down. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So here's a tree pattern. That means that I would need to feed it like this with the holes up here, so that my trees, when the ornament hangs like this, are going up and down, not sideways like they're being carried home on the roof of a car. And I thought this might be a little bit helpful as we start folding. I did print what the cut and fold lines look like, so you'll know what to look for, but we'll get to that in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and position the die. Now this is a piece of paper that I printed, and my printer doesn't go all the way to the edges, but that's not a big deal. You're going to get 2 out of these out of an 8.5 by 11, and I'm not worried about the blank space for the tab down here, so I'm going to put my die all the way down against the edge of the paper. And since this is a white print with spaces for the snowflakes on it, I also don't care that I'm a little bit over up here, but make sure that you are all the way on your mat. And there's a lip to the new Sizzix plates, and it angles off, so make sure you are behind that angle or it won't cut on the very end of your die. And it fits just basically perfectly on there. Okay, so now I will put my top plate on. I'm not sure if some of you know or followed me on Facebook. I broke my last Big Shot because of putting too many clear plates. I had a stack of them. So I'll show you what I do when I'm done cutting here. I'm going to make some noise. Whoop. There we go. Alright, and then I have no room, so I'm going to move the machine, pick up the piece, and put the machine back. A little crazy. Alright, so now what we have is our ornament cutout for the large ornament. Medium and small look just the same, only medium and smaller. You do end up with these really cool little tabs. I end up snipping these off and putting them in a Ziploc bag because I can cut little pieces out of them. And there is a layering die that comes in your packet here. And it's basically just like a 0.875, what is that, 7/8 of an inch square? I don't know where he's at in there. But you can, there it is. You can just make plain square layers to layer on if you'd like. So here we have it cut, and it does have the score lines in it, but they are a little bit difficult to see. You can see that one there. So I'm going to scooch over from white paper, and I'm going to show you if you use a solid paper. This is our metallic red, and you can really see your score lines there. Now, if you're not getting really deep score lines when you do cut it, it depends on the pressure of the machine. It's not really the die's issue, it's the machine's issue. So you could put an extra sheet of cardstock under here and then put your base plate on. That way when you cut, it's going to force those into the opening of it a little bit more and put more of an embossed impression onto it. So remember I was telling you how to keep from messing up and putting too many plates in your Sizzix? One good rule is only have 2 plates out, but if you have a spare for some reason because one's warped and one's not, I started putting mine crossways like that over top of it so that I can't have 2 plates, die, paper, and a 3rd plate. So that was my hopefully don't ruin another machine trick. I'm going to go ahead and fold this up out of my way. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to fold. This one is our patterned one. That's the one I'm going to show you how to assemble. But for starting here, what we're going to do is we are going to fold, and they are on the crease. If you just start bending, you will notice that it does track in that fold already. So you just kind of baby it and just pinch, see how it just goes right along there. And then you're going to want a folding tool, scoring tool of some sort. Bone folder is what I use, if not my thumbnail. And you just want to go along all of these lines. Now the reason I sourced this metallic paper for the ornaments is because it's a solid core. And what that means is when we fold it and score it, it does not show a white line all the way around it, which can be kind of cool depending on the ornament paper that you use. Here's an old graphic 45 paper that I had. You can see how it's leaving white. You might take and deliberately buff that or distress that and then maybe even ink it if you wanted to. And that's an all-over pattern, so it doesn't matter which direction you cut it. Alright, back to this. So what you're going to do is you're going to do all of your horizontals, okay, and all of your verticals, and I run through and I just do them basically, not, you know, perfect. I don't score with the bone folder or burnish each one individually, so I just like to get them started and know where they are. And then this is our little gluing tab. Whoops. And sometimes it depends on how I hold it. There we go. I just gotta get it started. Now, if it is summertime, which you probably aren't going to be making ornaments in the summertime, but if it is and you're doing any kind of folding like this and you have a swamp cooler, just know that your score lines are not as crisp when you're trying to get them started because the paper is damp. So that's something to think of if your score lines aren't working. So just lay this down here and burnish across each fold. And you can kind of make sure it's straight. They should line up here. All the way across. And I recommend just starting with a scrap piece of plain white cardstock or colored cardstock if you can to understand and learn where all of your folds go, and then once you're an expert you can do them in your sleep. Alright, so we have all of those wonky little pieces done, and then I fold the top and bottom tabs backwards out of my way for now, and you can come back and burnish those also. Alright, so now those guys are out of my way. Alright, so now you can see this diagonal fold. I don't know how people did these by measuring and scoring by hand. It's crazy to me. I would never have done more than one. So what I'm doing is I've got my fingers underneath, and I'm resting that there, and then I'm putting my thumb, and you can see I don't have much of a nail, but you put your thumb in there, and you pinch this together, and fold it over with your finger being on the back, if that makes sense. And then I just pinch it down with pressure. You don't actually have to use your burnishing tool on that. And then see, just take and rub that into a point and squeeze it down. And you just repeat this all the way down the one side. Just kind of help that go into a point. Okay. And I felt like a total fumble fingers the first couple of times I tried doing this. Now I've done several, so like I say, you know, practice, maybe it doesn't make you perfect, but it makes you more comfortable with it. So we don't need perfection anyway. So here's the end where we connect it, and that one's a little bit more tricky on that edge, and then this one, of course, it just does the same thing. All right, so we turn it around and we would repeat it on the other side, and not to bore you, I already have one done with all of the creases and folds to it. All right, so the way I like to do it is I like to put glue or tape, mostly glue, on here, and then I would fold it in half like this, so that it is exactly in half. Some people, hi Renee, who never watches Facebook or videos, she does it like this. And for me, that's a little bit more intense than just laying it down would be. So we're going to do it my way since it's my video. And many of you probably know I do like glossy accents as my glue. And you can use some of the tapes out there, the white liner tapes. I'm not familiar with any brand that works better than the other, but I have used some that don't work at all. You want to put your glue or your tape right along that outside edge, okay? And then we're going to fold this over, tuck this under here, make sure we're straight, and then I take my burnishing tool and hold that down and just rub that in place, kind of. And it squishes it. And that extra force kind of just really helps that glue penetrate both sides of the paper weave and go into it. So now we have a tube. Okay? Alright, so all of our little triangular divots are right here. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we are going to glue and or tape. You can do either. I like to sit this out like that. It sits flat. Sorry for the shadows behind me. My light doesn't look like it's positioned in a very great place. So, you know how you do a cardboard box where you're going to tape it, not where you're going to tuck the flaps in? You're going to do 1, 2, and then 3, and then 4, so that they would all align. And I find this keeps it better square, if that makes sense. Alright, so you're going to have to bear with me. I also don't have editing software, so this is going to be just as quickly as I can do it live. And I may have to pull it back out of your range so I can see it. Okay, and if you need to, you can kind of put something up inside there, like your squirting tool, your bone folder, I mean, and stick that in there. And then glue mostly around the outside edges. That's where you want it to be stuck so that it doesn't buckle. Alright, I'm going to stick my finger under there, press it, align it, kind of pinch it down. Okay, and just a little bit of pressure with that tool from the inside. I was going to make a really cool dowel tool, but I figure we have all these other things at hand, why not use them? See where that didn't get quite enough glue there? I don't like that. So we're going to make it have a glue there. Okay. If you get too much, it's clear. As long as you have the right kind of paper, it's not going to hurt anything. I just wipe it off. Okay. And number 4. You can see how the more tabs get glued, the more it stays nice and firm and square for you. And then you can put a little bit more downward pressure here for your last piece. Okay. And once you have that in place, and it's started to stick enough where it won't come apart while you flip it over, you can then turn it over and press with the scoring tool or marker, whatever you happen to have handy that's longer than your fingers are, and you can press with. Alrighty, so that is essentially our ornament. Now it's empty. You can, it's going to stay in a ball and you can put your treats in it. Little bags of caramel corn are great. Maybe Hershey's Kisses, I don't know. They will hold a full ornament of Hershey's Kisses in this lighter weight metallic paper, and it doesn't distort. So I did take the Kisses out of mine because I was afraid of them melting and running through the paper. Alright, so now I want to show you how to do the thread or the ribbon or whatever you want to call it through the top part. And this is a shout out to Renee again, and I doubt I'll even get her to watch this on YouTube, but I have to mention it. So, when you do ribbons or fibers, it's hard to feed them through those little holes. And I did have a blue color of it. But we will use pink because, you know, it doesn't have to stay there permanently. Alright. So, this is just some twine. Alright. That is that's about 9 inches. Alright, so, and I usually do two strings of the twine. So I'm just doing a sewing knot. Put both ends together, wrap it around your finger, roll it like you would thread, and then pull it down with your finger. Okay, so that made a knot. This is the prototype die, so the hole is actually a little bit larger than it's going to be in your die because I found that it was hard to make a big enough knot to keep it from pulling through. So, if you're using a finer thread or fiber or whatnot, and you need to, you can actually make a double knot, a knot on top of a knot-ish. Alright, so that way, and you can test it. Okay, so you see how difficult that is to try to get that through that hole. Renee is a genius. These are not the ones that she had. These are floss aids from the dentist. You can pick these up at CVS Pharmacy or Walmart or whatever. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I had a hard time finding them here. So I actually bought thousands of these and I have them for sale. They're 10 in a little package for $1, and I will get those listed online. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed this through that hole there, and then I'm going to go in here. Oh, no, my knot wasn't big enough. Let's try that again. Alright, so just make sure you give yourself enough string to make a double, triple knot if you need it. That should work.